Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. We're doing the April edition of the governor predictions. Sorry I haven't recorded in a while. You're gonna hear this from me in every video for a while. I've been having a rough month, year. I've been having a rough year. The year just started, it's already rough. So, I'm gonna try my best to record as much as I can. I've also got me some Mountain Dew right next to me. I just popped the can, you might have heard it or not, I don't know. And so we're gonna go through here. I've got these predictions memorized as I always do because it really doesn't change much from March. I have it on a little notepad on my phone. So let's do safe Republican states. Alaska, that's going to be safe. Even though polling has Bill Walker up by 1 point over Mike Dunleavy, we know how bad Alaska polling is. It's really not that bad. Um, I do expect Dunleavy to win by over 10 points in the end. Idaho, Wyoming, safe. South Dakota. I thought Kristi Noem was going to lose her primary. Doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Nebraska, not Kansas. Kansas will not be safe. Oklahoma will be safe. Texas will be safe. Yes, Beto O'Rourke is losing by double digits to Greg Abbott. So all you resist libs on Twitter, I'm sorry, but it's the truth. I am the truth. Arkansas is safe. Tennessee, Alabama, South Carolina. Florida will be safe. Ron DeSantis will outperform Marco Rubio. That's my prediction as of right now. I do think DeSantis will win by 15 over whoever he runs against. Unless it's Annette Taddeo, then I think he's going to underperform Rubio if he's running against Taddeo. But I don't think Tadeo's going to win the nomination. I think Charlie Crist will. Nikki Fried also could end up winning the nomination, though I don't see it happening. Iowa, that's safe, as well as Vermont and New Hampshire. Both popular governors will probably end up winning by 30 points or more, yet again, if not 20 points or more. Now, the safe Democrat states, Hawaii, even though they have a phenomenal Republican running there by the name of BJ Penn, strong name recognition, however, it's Hawaii. I doubt it'll get under 20, sadly. California will go safe. Colorado, Jared Polis is a very popular incumbent. He probably wins by over 20. Um, Massachusetts, that's going to be a flip for the Democrats. Massachusetts, as well as Maryland, they get to flip 2 seats on the governor levels. Both Massachusetts and Maryland, with both retiring governors, Larry Hogan being term limited, Charlie Baker just retiring, not instead of running for a third term, as well as Rhode Island. Though Rhode Island could become competitive, as of right now, I have it as like D plus 14 or something like that. But if the current mayor of Cranston, I don't remember his name, it's not Alan Fung. He's running for Congress, thankfully. Um, the current mayor of Cranston, who is just as moderate and much of a populist as Alan Fung, he could probably end up making this race super competitive as well. And as well as New York, I don't have New York going likely, unlike some people that I've seen. I don't think it's getting to that point quite yet, though I'm not going to say it's not going to. So, here's the current map thus far, the battleground map. 23 Republican governors to 13 Democrat governors. Republicans only need to win 3 seats, and it's a blowout if they win every single one of these states, which they won't. So first, let's go from west to east as always. Oregon is going to be likely Democrat. As of right now, there's a strong third-party challenger named Betsy Johnson, who is getting support from Republicans and Democrats from all over the political spectrum, from the far left to the far right. It's pretty funny. She's got like Richard Painter's endorsement from Minnesota, who's pretty far left. She's got Newt Bueller's endorsement, who's a Rockefeller Republican. It's pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie. I think she has Roger Stone's endorsement, which is a libertarian, so she's got a pretty mishmash of like political endorsements, and I kind of like that about her. I think Ted Wheeler is going to end up jumping into this race. I don't know when the filing deadline is, but if Ted Wheeler doesn't run, I think Tina Kotek will end up being the Democrat nominee. I really don't know who the fuck's going to be the Republican nominee. Like, literally, I don't know. But I think it's going to be likely Republican as of right now. Nevada, I think it's going to flip Republican. I think Republicans are going to win this seat narrowly. Joe Lombardo is going to beat Steve Sisolak, even though I believe that at one point Steve Sisolak would be fine. Doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. Nevada is going to flip Republican. Arizona, we have another flip for the Democrats. Yes, I know, shocking. I think Arizona will flip a Democrat. Despite the scandals that Katie Hobbs has been doing, she's performing very well in polling right now. She's underperforming Mark Kelly by 2 right now, but I think her and Kelly both win by a tilt margin as of right now. The polling with the Clinton handicap has Kelly +8 and Hobbs +6. I don't think it's going to be a likely margin win for those two, though I do think it'll be very, very close, a very close victory for the two. A flip for Democrats in Arizona. Now another flip, speaking of which, will go to New Mexico, as Mark Ronchetti will narrowly beat out Michelle Lujan Grisham. I'm called a wishcaster for this call, honestly. It's like, oh, New Mexico isn't going red because San Bernardino County and all that. I think that's what they said. I don't know. If you can't tell, I'm tired. I just woke up. And I'm like, it's going to happen. It might have. He's leading in polling right now. He is. Like, well, with the Clinton handicap anyway. Like, he's beating her out if you weight the polling with the Clinton handicap. So, and that's. I don't think it's going to be a huge victory. I think it's going to be super close. He's probably going to lose in 2026 if it's a blue wave. But, I do think Ronchetti will defeat Grisham in 2022, as of right now. Kansas, another flip for the Republicans. It'll be a likely margin. This gives Republicans the governorships. They now have 26 governorships. They can lose the entirety of the Rust Belt, Northeast, and Georgia, and they'd still be fine. Though they'd probably lose seats, honestly. I think they'd lose one seat if that was the case. But Kansas, they win it. It's pretty much inevitable. Laura Kelly is essentially DOA. She could come back. She's been running as a pretty moderate governor. She's was the first Democrat governor to deny Joe Biden's like universal mask and vaccine mandates that he wanted to do. She wasn't the only one. I'm pretty sure there was more. I'm pretty sure Jared Polis also did shortly afterwards. Same thing with Ned Lamont, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Next up, going up to Minnesota, we got a likely margin. I don't think you can flip Minnesota unless the Twin City turnout is very low, and the Twin City turnout is never going to be low. The midterms are going to be a very high turnout election for our midterms. I'm calling it right now. We're going to see high turnout for the midterms, like 44% turnout, which is pretty high for our midterms. Especially a Republican midterm, which will kind of debunk the myth that, hey, high turnout equals Democrat victory, which really isn't always the case. Democrats are just better at turning out, and it seems like Republicans are now starting to, get their shit in high gear when it comes to turning out voters. You can thank Donald Trump for that. Now we have Illinois. It'll be another likely victory. Also, yeah, I think it's going to be Tim Walz versus Scott Jensen. Scott Jensen, by the way, is being endorsed by a very well-known BLM activist. So that is something interesting to point out. Illinois, I think, is going to be likely Republican, even though polling has Pritzker up by 30 points. That's not a joke, by the way. He is up by 30 points. Though I think that's a one-off poll. There was like 30% of, or scratch that, 26% of undecided voters. And the Republican field is pretty much unknown. The most well-known candidate is probably Richard Irvin, or one of the state senators running. Richard Irvin is the mayor of Aurora, Illinois. I think it's Aurora, Illinois. I know it starts with an A. And I do think Richard Irvin will do very well with rural blacks. He'll do very well with suburbs. He won't do enough to win. I think Pritzker wins by 8, which is still enough for him to win, obviously. So it's going to be likely Democrat as of right now. Next up, Wisconsin. I do think this is going to be a lean victory for the Republicans. Right now, Rebecca Kleefisch is essentially the quote-unquote presumptive nominee, which I really don't believe. I think Kevin Nicholson will end up winning the nomination. I think Donald Trump will end up endorsing him because he has not endorsed Kleefisch yet. I'd be very disappointed if he endorsed Rebecca Kleefisch. I do think Kevin Nicholson will win the nomination and beat Tony Evers. Though I do think Kleefisch would also beat Evers. At this point, any of the three candidates, Rothman, Nicholson, Kleefisch, they would beat Evers. Next up, we have Michigan. Now, if you remember from my last prediction in February, I had Craig winning, James Craig. But now I think Gretchen Whitmer is going to win. As of right now, I think it's going to be a very narrow margin. I think Gretchen Whitmer has pulled herself back together. Her approval rating has been bumped up a little bit. I think she will narrowly beat out James Craig. Because, I mean, I think in a red wave, I think Gretchen Whitmer would have survived. Because, the Republicans are just so unpopular in Michigan in 2018. If it was a red wave, Whitmer would have won then. That's my hot take of the video. Next up, we're going to actually go down to Georgia. Georgia, I think I had the Democrats winning Georgia last time, but now I'm going to have it go to Republican. I think David Perdue is probably going to end up winning the primary. I think him and Kemp will go into a runoff, and Trump will end up campaigning for Perdue quite a bit, causing him to end up winning the runoff, similar to what Trump did with Brian Kemp back in 2018 during the primary runoff with Casey Cagle. So, and I do think Purdue's going to end up beating Stacey Abrams by like 3 points or something like that. Next up, Ohio. Mike DeWine is most likely to be facing off against the Blue Dog Mayor of Cincinnati, John Cranley. Why do I call him a blue dog? Well, he has anti-mask mandates, he is anti-vaccine mandates, and I think he's pro-life, but don't quote me on that. He's a really good candidate to run against Mike DeWine, and I think we'll see a very fucked up county map, because a bunch of Republicans might flock to Cranley, and a bunch of Democrats might flock to DeWine. You never know, unless we're just that polarized and people don't care about policy anymore, which wouldn't surprise me either. But I do think that this will be a very close matchup. I think DeWine, despite his popularity, will win by a lean margin. He'll win by around 4 points, defeating John Cranley. John Cranley would squash Mike DeWine in a blue wave year, by the way. Next up, Pennsylvania. This is going to be another very narrow margin. I think it's going to end up being Lou Barletta versus Josh Shapiro. We have no polling for some reason. I don't know why there's no polling in Pennsylvania. You would think there would be like gobs of polls right now in Pennsylvania, but there's not. But I do think Lou Barletta is going to end up narrowly beating Josh Shapiro. Very, very narrowly. I'm kind of surprised Donald Trump hasn't endorsed Lou Barletta yet. That's kind of strange, but anyway. Next up, Connecticut, we have Ned Lamont. And this is also another take that I have. Oh, you're a wishcaster. It's really not that much of a wishcast. Even though I am, the Connecticut will go red, and I still believe that. But though polling doesn't agree with me, so I have to go with what the polling says. I do think Ned Lamont will end up beating Bob Stefanowski by around 7 or 8 points out of Connecticut. As of right now, we only have one poll out that had Lamont up by 12 points. Just that one poll, so... Or I think it was 12, I could be wrong. It's just one poll. You don't want to take it, oh my god, there's one poll. Like, there could be a poll come out tomorrow that has Stefanowski up by 8 points. Again, you can't just go off those 2 polls, okay? We need more information. We need more data. Okay, those 2 polls could just be completely wrong. It could end up being Stefanowski plus 0.3. Okay, both of those polls would be so wrong. But, you know, you just got to take it with a grain of salt. Next up, Maine. I don't know why Republicans are hyping up Maine so much. Jeanette Mills is pretty popular outside of the mandates, and Maine's pretty independent-minded. And Paul LePage is not that much of an independent-minded person. He's pretty much Trump, but Northeastern, which is pretty funny to think about, actually. I do like Paul LePage a lot. I think he's like Chris Sununu and Larry Hogan in a mix of Donald Trump all rolled together in a ball, and there you go. It's Paul LePage. Add in some Jim Justice there. I like Paul LePage. I just don't think he's going to win because he's never won over, I believe, 45% of the vote in his races, in his statewide races. So I do think that Maine is going to go blue. Will it go to runoff to a second round of ranked choice voting? I don't think so. I think it'll be like the 2020 Maine Senate race where Janet Mills wins like 51 or 52% of the vote, and Paul LePage ends up winning like 48 to 47. So it'll be very, very close. But this is my governor predictions. Tell me how I'm wrong in the comments. Tell me why you think Kristi Noem is going to lose in the general election in 2022, or tell me why you think Jeff Deal is going to win in Massachusetts. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is the Chaotic One saying, peace.